All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, BaShem, YAHWASHI, BaShem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, and peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. And getting into a lesson, a little bit of history, adding on to the live stream we had over here in GMS Tampa yesterday, going into the vision that's happening upon this planet Earth, specifically so-called America. And we brought out through the Spirit Isaiah 19 in verse 2, going into how the Lord's going to send the Egyptians against the Egyptians. All right, and you read Revelation 11 chapter, this place we in the so-called America, being Babylon the Great. All right, this empire, all right, is known as spiritual Sodom and known as spiritual Egypt. Right, and going into specifically how an example of this place being spiritual Egypt, going into civil unrest, okay, civil wars and things like that. That goes back to ancient Egypt, right? Of course, going into Egypt because of our bondage. The Israelites running the captivity of the ancient Egyptians. Call hell, until the Lord eventually and ultimately saved them. Okay, that's gonna happen here again. Look at the back of your dollar bill. What you got, a pyramid. But going into the modern day pharaohs is you Edomites. Okay, you so-called white men, women, and children. Okay, specifically the men. The Edomites are rulers over us, and we're in the land of our captivity. Again, known as the place known as spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt. But again, going to specifically about the civil unrest that's getting ready to happen, which is ultimate prophecy. And as Scripture says, there's no new thing under the sun. And which I have up, I'll just go ahead and grab it really quick. There's Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. It says, "A thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there's no new thing under the sun." Okay, so how the Lord splits up kingdoms, divides kingdoms, because Yahushua said himself, he's coming to bring division. Okay, this is not nothing new. Okay, because you divide a nation, and that nation eventually is going to fall. Okay, that's why I should say, what Yahushua said himself, said that a kingdom divided against itself shall not stand. Okay, and this happened in ancient Egypt, and it's going to happen. It happened in ancient Rome. Okay, and it's going to happen in modern day Rome, being so-called America. Ultimately, again, this kingdom as a whole, Babylon the Great. All right, so Ecclesiastes 1 verse 10, it says, "Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It have been already of old time, which was before." So again, it says this is not nothing new. Okay, so I have some articles. Of course, those will put it all together and it'd be edifying, those will. But here, let me keep saying but yeah, let me get started here. Get to the point really quick. We'll see the website, worldhistory.org, World History Encyclopedia. It says ancient Egyptian warfare. Right, so here, get a point here. It says the early records. You skip all this stuff. It says the early records of Egyptian warfare all have to do with civil unrest, not conquest of other lands, and this would be the paradigm, if I said that correctly, from the early dynamic period in Egypt. And the time scale, I can't say I can't say particularly that, as far as the history goes, it's just the exact time. I don't know, but because you talk about 3000, 3150 and through 2613 BC. This is pretty much before the flood. Okay, so how they have this information, I don't know, but nonetheless, the point is there. Okay, there's history of civil unrest, between the rich and the poor, in Egypt. All right, it says until the time of the Middle Kingdom, 2040 through 1782. It says when the kings of the 12th dynasty maintained a standing army, which they led on military campaigns beyond their borders. Okay, that's what the devil does. He stretches himself outside of his borders. It says Habakkuk 2nd chapter, he can't keep at home. Okay, he enlarges desire as hell. Right, but here it says it says the development of professional warfare. It says although modern day scholars disagree whether Narmer united Egypt through conquest, there is no doubt that a military force under a strong leader was necessary to hold the country together. Right, it says throughout the early dynamic period in Egypt, there is evidence of unrest, perhaps even a division of the country at one point, and civil wars between factions fighting for the throne. Okay, so going into Again, there's no new thing under the sun. Okay, so let me get it real quick. It's Isaiah 19, the point verse 2 says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." So again, it's nothing new under the sun. So this is going to happen all over again. Okay, but here in this time, the technology of this world is far advanced in ancient Egypt. They had sticks and stones back then, arrows, swords, whatever. But now you have guns, you have bombs. Okay, you have GPS tracking technology, things like that. So it's going to be a lot more gruesome. Okay, and there's a lot more people upon Earth now than back then. So there's going to be a lot more death. All right, and this is what's going to happen here in so-called America, going to this division. Again, no new thing under the sun. Okay, you got up versus down, left versus right. Okay, and then going into America's history, so-called America's history, you had a civil war. Okay, you had the South against the North. Okay, you had the red versus the blue. All right, and that's gonna happen all over again. Okay, and you niggas gonna get caught in between that. Okay, just like back then, and you're gonna be slaughtered. Okay, but that was the point here on this article. Going to governments and things like that. I have another one. Going into a little bit more specific about these civil wars. Here it says, the title of this one is, where is it? It says the first civil war, right? And this is weaponsandwarfare.com. I get to the point, if I can remember where it was. Nope. Yeah, here. Get to the point. It says in the second in this second dynasty, which is generally considered to have been begun around 2890 BC, and intermediate number of kings reigned. Following on the drought, proof of the king's uncertain control over life and death, civil war broke out and raged for years. It says the war reached its height during the reign of the next to last king, Sekemib, when an inscription notes that the southern army fought the northern army within the city of Neheb, the city of the vulture goddess, was the eastern half of Hierakonpolis, right? Finish. It says it lay over 100 miles south of Ebdos, far into Upper Egypt. For the northern Lower Egyptian rebellion to get this far suggests that during the second dynasty, the southern upper Egyptian hold on the empire was almost broken. So again, going to division. Okay, and it said right here in this precept, Isaiah 19 verse 2 says, "I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother." Right, so they're fighting everyone against their neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So infighting, you're gonna have Florida fighting against California, or Texas versus New York, or whatever. Okay, because you have governors and mayors and rulers. Each state can be considered its own country. Okay, and you have states getting ready to try to secede. With this whole setup now, you got Donald Trump trying to take back office. It's doing nothing but causing division. Okay, and that's just on the political level. Okay, you have a social level of division, you have a financial division. Okay, so this is what the Lord's setting up. Matter of fact, let me grab it. It'd be nice if I can spell. So this is Luke chapter 12 and verse 51. It's YAHAWASHI speaking. It says, "Suppose ye that I come to give peace." Matter of fact, I'll get it so you can see the red. Whoops. Well, I don't got a red letter Bible lock. Luke chapter 12 verse 51. It says, Suppose ye that I have come to send peace on earth. I tell you nay, but rather division. Okay, it says, "From henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. 5 shall be divided against the son shall be the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law." So the Lord's coming to bring that division. Okay, so again, it's coming, and it's going to be brought back in a great way. Okay, because there's going to be great destruction. Right, so I got one more article, just flying through this. Those will, of course, be edifying. So it says the old kingdom collapse. All right, this is Cordis.us. It says the first intermediate period. It says the end of the old kingdom around 21 100 BC. So this would be the time of around Abraham. Okay, seems to have been caused by major climate change. It says in Egypt there was a terrible drought, while the Nile failed to flood or flooded less than usual. So there wasn't enough water to grow enough food. So the Lord brought a famine. Okay. So Lord, again, putting these outside pressures and creating the pressure within. Okay. Because, the Lord uses, of course, forcing these rulers, says the king's heart is the hand of the Lord. So, a lot of these droughts are man-made. Okay. But when the Lord brings, locusts and, you got now ladybugs. Okay. What else the Lord will bring, that can bring about a drought, well, not a drought, a famine, you got weather, you got fires going on the West Coast, so the Lord can do that. Okay. But again, the Lord can make to where, because it's really the access, all right, to the food. Okay. Because there's food everywhere, just the access to it is not always available. And then how much more when there's martial law and things like that, it says man shall desire to go into the city, should not be able, because again, of course, the Spirit of the Lord is working, right? But not to ramble too much. It says, Egyptian government changes. Says then food shortages led to rebellions among the nomarchs, the governors, and rich people. They thought that the pharaohs weren't doing a good job. Technically, they were still called kings and not pharaohs, right? So, again, the rich versus the poor, okay? So there's rebellions, okay? Uproars of the people, okay? Saying there's a 9th chapter. Matter of fact, going into that sedition. And I'll probably wrap this up. It does have to be a long lesson, but I just thought it was interesting, going into, the depth of YAHAWASHI and SHAM, of how, these things are getting ready to play out upon earth, like he said, before they spring forth, I'll tell you of them, okay? So let me get to the point. I think I got to start here. 2 15, verse 14 says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up to fight against another and swords in their hands. So, again, this is coming back, okay? He's going to set this place on fire, okay? That's what the Lord is going to do, all right? And it's going to be ultimately again with these thermonuclear missiles, okay? It says, verse 16, it says, there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of the action shall stand in their power. So people are fed up, okay? People don't want to take, the jab juice, okay? People want to take, eventually people are not going to want to take that, the MOB. It's going to be rebellions about that, But, at the end of the day, if you're not with YAHAWASHI and SHAM, the Lord's not with you, you're going to be destroyed, okay? Because the unity is of the faith, okay? There's not going to be no unity out here because the Lord said division, okay? It can, and two walk amongst each other except they be agreed, okay? People can't find no agreements. You guys don't even like the same teams and you live in the same city, okay? You got people over here in Florida that are from Missouri or from New Hampshire, okay? People that want to wear masks, people that don't want to wear masks, okay? So that's what the Lord's bringing, okay? But again, going into the elect, all right, we're one because we're one under YAHAWASHI and SHAM, all right? Verse 17, a man shall desire going to a city and shall not be able. Because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the house shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy the house with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. So this is what happened, okay? There was food shortages. We can go up, Google search food shortages in America, right? Food shortage, America. Go to news, where we at? Cubans protest against food shortages and rising prices. Biden going into Cuba. Over there, Manasseh going off. Venezuela addressing food industry's labor shortage, right? Because nobody wants to be farmers. America's hunger crisis is far from over. So it says what water shortage is doing to some of America's best farmland. So there you go. All right. Pandemic-driven hunger is making the world more unequal. All right. So this is not going away, okay, because this is what the Lord is doing, all right, to set this place ablaze, okay, and eventually send these thermonuclear missiles, but that's pretty much the point. I wanted to get into the point of the division, which that's how we know the telltale sign this place is going to be destroyed, because again, the kingdom divided against itself shall not stand. That's what happened to us. The northern kingdom, southern kingdom, we split up, eventually got conquered. So guess what's going to happen to this place? Because it's going to get split up and conquered, okay, when Yahushua returns and sets his mark here upon earth and gives the kingdom unto his people. I go first to the elect, and those will be part of that number. So with that, those will be edifying, as well as we give all praises to Yahawah, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakak Wadash, double honor to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Shalom.